Hi everyone, and welcome back to another episode of On Point in West Point, the Project Zomboid game where we try to give you a bit of information and a leg up on surviving a game in West Point, at least hopefully until the winter comes. So my name is Recky, this is Emily Gavin. We are here at Twiggy's and we are at the start of day 5 of our survival, I guess you could say. At the moment, the rain has started, and we knew the rain was coming because we have our radio tuned to the emergency broadcast channel, and we have been informed of the rain arriving. And luckily, even though it's raining and it's kind of dark out, it's not a tropical storm. Usually with a tropical storm, you get a tropical storm warning. The radio will say warning, tropical storm imminent in so many days. So I'm assuming this is not a tropical storm, but we're going to hang around. We're going to feed her. We're going to give her some drinks. We might clean up a little bit until the 8 a.m. broadcast. And then we're going to listen and make sure it's not a tropical storm. And if it's not, we'll go do some looting while it's raining. It's not horrible for your character to get wet. If your character has the Outdoorsman Trait, which is marked by this little leaf here, it means that being wet doesn't bother them and they don't get sick from being wet. If, however, they don't, then being out and about, once they get to the soaking stage, they run the risk of getting ill. So you want to really watch out for that, because coughing and sneezing will draw zombies to you. So let's see, what have we got to eat here? We've still got a lot of cake and stuff, and I always try to eat the stuff that loses the fresh moniker first. We've got some good sandwiches and things. It looks like everything we've got is fresh, so that's good. We're still in the first 5 days, so I wouldn't expect anything to go bad, but it pays to watch. Another thing we want to keep an eye out for is, let's look at our cooking. We want to see about making cake batter, and I want to favorite that. You get into the crafting menu by hitting B, and I have a lot more options than you probably will because of all of the mods I have installed. And then you can do a search for whatever you're looking for. So let's say I go here and I look for cake. Okay, it looks like I got nothing, and the reason it looks like I've got nothing is because I'm on the carpentry tab. In order for it to search all of the other tabs, you have to click filter all. Now it's also looking at cooking, electrical, health, etc. And since it's looking at cooking now, it's showing me all the different options for making a cake. I want to favorite making cake batter, and that's going to put it here on the very first menu. And the reason I want to do that is because cake batter is shelf stable. So basically, once you take the milk, the eggs, the flour, the fat, the sugar, and you turn it into cake batter, you can put it on a shelf and it will not go bad, and it stays forever. So early on, the more milk and eggs you can gather and then turn into cake batter, the better off you are, because they're not going to spoil that way. They'll spoil even in the refrigerator, or even if you freeze them. The other thing that you can make is pie dough. This is also, as far as I know, another one that is shelf stable, so we'll favorite that. And I think the difference between making a cake batter and making pie dough is that the pie dough doesn't need milk and eggs, which is why I always go after making the cake batter first. So what we need for cake batter is some sort of fat, butter, lard, margarine, olive oil, or vegetable oil, some sort of sugar, brown sugar, or sugar packets, either 2 eggs or 2 wild eggs. If you happen to have foraging or trapping, you might get lucky and get eggs that way. milk or sweetened condensed milk in the can if you can find it, and corn flour or flour. And some of the more recent games, I'm sorry, don't forget, you also need an empty bowl to mix it in, a unit of yeast, and something to mix with. So one of the things that I like to do is I want to make sure that I have a spoon with me at all times, because if I don't, then I typically will forget to pick it up. And it doesn't even look like we have a spoon yet. So that being the case, that's another thing we have to go out and get today. So I think what we'll do is after I feed her, we will take her out. We will look for milk and eggs and fresh food. We probably are going to need another refrigerator at some point, but I might not do that today. I might wait. I think we have enough space in these fridges to get by. And we need a spoon. And I believe that we have read the cooking magazine that gives you the ability to make cake. And then we'll make some cakes and stuff. So let's eat. Let's see, what do we got? Let's eat this cake. And let's eat this pie. And by the time we finish eating and we get ourselves a drink, it should be time for the broadcast. And why are we heavy? We are having a heavy load, so I have to check to see what was in my inventory when we left. Some clouds today. The weather starts in the early morning, which it has, showers and or heavy rain. Tomorrow we also have moderate temperatures, looks like. Mild wind, nothing really heavy. When this goes up, you want to stay indoors. And the weather's predicted to end in the evening tomorrow after some heavy rain. Okay, so it looks like we are good to go if we want to get out of here. What am I carrying? Oh, that's right. I was carrying this bag that we were going to go ahead and we were going to empty. So let's see what's in here. Anything important? We've got a watch that can go in here. We've got some tools that can go in here. A water bottle, which we'll put in our backpack in case we need another one. And then we're going to go upstairs and just drop this bag on the floor. And then really briefly, I want to check to see if we have read the cooking magazine. Because I'm pretty sure we found the cooking magazine that lets you make cake batter. So let's see here. Yes, Good Cooking Magazine, Volume 1, teaches recipe, make cake batter, pie dough, chocolate chip cookie dough, chocolate cookie dough, oatmeal cookie dough, sugar cookie dough, and shortbread cookie dough, and we've already read it, and this is why you want baking trays. And then Magazine 2 gives you bread dough, biscuits, and pizza, which is some nice new stuff that we can make. In previous versions of the game, we couldn't make pizza, and so it's lovely that now you can make pizza. And of course, you get the rest of the ingredients for making pizza from any pizza world. You can go and find, pre-made pizza dough, pepperoni, and so forth. But most of the ingredients are available just in grocery stores, because you can make your own pizza dough. You can pick up a jar of marinara sauce. You can pick up cheese. I have not yet seen pepperoni out anywhere but Pizza World, but that doesn't mean that it doesn't exist. All right, so let's have a look. Looks like we are pretty empty and safe. Nothing really around us at this point. I always like to check. And at some point, what we'll do is we will, when we finish the garage, we will build the garage around in a U shape, so you can go in one side and come out the other without being trapped. And that allows us to pull vehicles in and work on mechanics when we have really bad weather. And once we do that, we will have an upstairs where I will put a bench and an awning, and she'll sit and she'll read during the wet weather. And when you're outside and reading, your character tends to not get bored. See this bored icon? This character is getting bored very easily when we do the busy work that goes along with preparing the safe house. Alright, so first up, let's have a look in GigaMart. I think we cleaned it out of most of our refrigerables, but just in case we didn't, let's have a look. And we'll also look for cake pans and bowls while we're here. Living next to GigaMart is really useful. Oh, we didn't clear out any of the refrigerables here, so we really need to do that too. And we've got some refrigerators back here, so we may as well start cleaning them out and picking them up, because we're going to need at least 4 or 5 refrigerators in order to store everything. What I like to do is have a refrigerator for meat, a refrigerator for produce, a refrigerator for your milk goods, and a refrigerator for anything prepped already. And then sometimes, depending on how reasonable we can keep our power load and how quickly the power goes out, I will even have a 5th refrigerator that I will put in the kitchen area with one of everything, so it's just easy to cook. You don't have to go around all the individual fridges to find things. And yes, I know there's a zombie over there. What I want to do though is transfer a bunch of this stuff out. I have some time. That zombie's a little slow moving, so we'll get some of this stuff out of my inventory and kill them. Now, some people have been saying that the way zombies work in the weather is unfair. I don't know that I've experienced what they're actually talking about. In previous versions of the game, zombies couldn't hear you or see you as well in the rain. And then we recently, I started noticing people saying in the bug reports and the forums that zombies seem to be hearing you even when there's thunder and lightning and other atmospheric effects that would, one would think, drown out the sound of a single person in a house. So I'm not really sure. Let me move some of this stuff over into her backpack. It looks like in order to pick up this refrigerator, I might have to drop this backpack. Oh, no, it's good. Okay, good. And I think I'm gonna just, if I can, assuming the front seat of the car is empty, I'm just gonna scoot in to the passenger seat in case there's another zombie around and dump this into one of the other seats. Yep, that seat's occupied. That seat is not occupied. Alright, so I'm in the back seat. I'm going to switch to the driver's seat, and we're going to have a look at what we got here. There's a generator in the front seat. We're going to put this fridge in the back seat. And we're going to move this generator over into a different seat, too, so I can get in and out a little bit more easily. Probably don't have the room to pick up another fridge. We've got about 47 pounds. Let's see how this goes. The fridges might be 20, but somehow I'm thinking that's an optimistic weight assessment. Alright, so let's see here. 40. So if we pick it up, we no longer have any room in the trunk, but we can run back and drop them off really quickly. And then we have a total of 5 fridges, and since the power is on, it doesn't matter how many fridges we run, and then we can clean out all this produce and meat before it goes bad. And I'm probably just gonna shove it in the seat here. I hate to do that because now I can't get in and out on that side if I need to, but the big thing was getting it out here without being attacked by a zombie. So, alright. Number 1 on our list of things to pick up was milk and eggs for cake batter. So, let's see here. And actually, almost all of this is useful. Mayonnaise is difficult to find and it goes bad, so you want to grab it and use it in your sandwiches. It gives a happiness boost. when it's on sandwiches. If they eat it by themselves, it makes them unhappy. But if you can put it on things, then it adds flavoring, and flavoring gives a +5, if I'm not mistaken. So we're just going to go through, oops, I'm going to put it in the backpack and not. And we're just going to try to grab eggs and specifically milk if we can find it. I was going to grab everything, but milk can be heavy, so let's go through and grab milk and eggs first because that's the most important part. And since we didn't put the refrigerator in the back of the truck, as long as we don't overload ourselves too much, we should be able to get all this stuff in the trunk. Now, another thing you need for cake batter is fat. So there's milk, so there's butter, so we'll grab that. The rest of this can really wait. Margarine is another thing. We'll grab that. Lard. What I like to do is make a cake making shelf early on. It's a single use shelf. It's only for making like cake and pie dough, that sort of thing. It's convenient. It's next to the fridge. You can just stand there and make a bunch of it. And then once you're out of supplies, you can turn the shelf into something else. But I'm big on processes that enable us to do things efficiently, especially in the beginning. And if I'm not mistaken, there are other fridges in the back, so let's have a look at those before we try to load up on anything else. We're clearly going to have to come back, and it's unfortunate because we have a small backpack and we have a small trunk. So I may not actually do as much looting as I thought, and what we might do instead is head up to the military encampment because I have Britta's armor mod installed, and the armor mod allows me to pick up different things different kinds of containers that are a lot more helpful. So for example, I know that somewhere in the game are bigger backpacks that hold 49 instead of 19. And that's a huge help when you tend to like looting as I do. And I also know that there are chest rigs in the game somewhere. And you can wear a chest rig and a tactical backpack at the same time. You can so you can use one to carry tools, and one to carry first aid. So I've got this little teeny tiny fanny pack that only holds 2 pounds for my first aid kit at the moment. But I obviously can't use a fanny pack for a mobile toolkit. And the nice thing about having a mobile toolkit is because you're carrying it, it's got a weight reduction on it. And while the standard items in the game have a pretty good weight reduction, the only thing that can fit into the front and back slots seems to be the fanny pack, which doesn't really hold anything. So it looks like I got all the bowls out of here. I'm double checking to make sure we get yeast. Another useful thing that you want to look for is vinegar, because if you can find the jars, you can take a lot of the produce that we have picked up and jar it, which gives it an extra 90-day shelf life. So, oh, and there's the light bulbs and lamps. I'll come back for those again. All right, and then I think what I'll do is try to grab as much of this meat and meat and the produce as we can. Because we've got enough stuff to at least get started with cake making. Let's see what we got here. Produce. The nice thing about produce is that typically, unless you're picking up the watermelons, your produce is going to be light. So I'm going to leave the watermelons there for a little bit, just so I can see how much I can still fit in the car and how much I can take with me. You can pickle a wide variety of vegetables. You cannot pickle fruit yet, which is something that I find, well, I guess it makes sense. So let me put that out there. It makes sense that you can't pickle fruit because you wouldn't want to pickle fruit, because pickled fruit would, I think, taste kind of crummy. But you should be able to can fruit, I think. However, since I don't do canning in real life, I am not 100% certain how that would actually work. I mean, usually, as far as I know, when you can something, you either need vinegar or salt or both as a preservative, and then you boil the cans or the jars to prevent bacteria from building up. And that's the big thing that you want to make sure you do. Because if bacteria builds up in cans, they spoil, and that's how you get botulism, which is a really terrible disease. And since the game tends to, keep track of foodborne illness, it makes sense that, they have these canning processes, which I think is great. And luckily, they don't, distinguish big diseases or whatever. So it's not like real life where you can be in real danger. But the game does follow real life enough that I would expect you should be able to can fruit. But I don't know what you'd use to do it, because obviously you don't want vinegar in it, because it won't taste good. And you don't want to can fruit with salt, because that won't taste good either. So what preservative do they use to can fruit? I have no idea. If you guys know, put it in the comments below, because like I said, my understanding of canning is pretty limited. Alright, so let's just drop all this stuff on the floor in a nice big pile of fruit here and other things that we want to eat. Come on. And she's not carrying anything here. And then what we're going to do is actually, let's have a look here. What's the best place to do this? We still have a wall up here, or can we walk through this? No, I ripped the wall out. Okay. So what I think we'll do is we will pull this metal wall shelf and we'll move it over here, at least for now. I may not keep it here. And then this one we need to loot in order to move, so we can put this stuff back on it. And then that gives us room for the two fridges, and we'll bring them in next, and that way they're not clogging up the trunk, and we're not carrying it around with us. Because I think really we've got enough food and stuff for us to manage making some cake batter and stuff. If we're going to loot, we really need better containers. And it just makes, to me, a lot more sense to go out and look for them now. I could have sworn... Oh, I put them in the truck, in the car itself. That's why. Alright, so here's one. Let's just grab this one and get out. Now we can get out on this side. I have a shorter distance to travel. See how it's slowing her down because she's carrying so much weight? And then we're going to put this one here. And make sure to pay attention to which way it's facing. That way you don't have to put it in again, and I'll show you what I mean by that. Placing items is one of those things that really throws people in the beginning, so... Alright, so when you get near where you want to put something, you want to be like right next to where you want to put it, and you want to choose place. And then when you put it in, if it helps, get rid of your inventory and have a look. Now, if I put it there, that's the stairwell, and see how the green is. Look at your floor. Don't pay attention to where something is. Don't pay attention to the graphic, because sometimes that can deceive you. Pay attention to the floor. See the green band around it here at the bottom? That's outside. That's in the stairwell. This is where you want it. But if you look closely, you can see the coils on the back of the fridge. The fridge is facing backwards. And if you look at the tooltip says hold button and move cursor to rotate object. So if we press and hold the left mouse button and then we pull forward, now it is facing in the right direction. And when we let go, she's going to start putting it in. That's why she had the progress bar over her head, and now she's done. So what we're going to do is just to be safe now, since we're going to be gone for a little while, we're going to start sticking the refrigerable stuff right in one of these fridges, and we can go ahead and sort it later. Is she carrying anything else? No. Okay. And this is where the trolley really shines. This is why I like the supercart mod. Not supercart, I apologize. Supercart with a Z. And that's because the supercart mod allows you to transport a large quantity of items. It holds, the trolley holds, I think, 63 pounds. And so you're not doing this incessant running back and forth. And if you have a 49-pound backpack, you're now able to transport 80 pounds of goods. All right, so let's get this stuff in the fridge. The juice box doesn't really need to be refrigerated, but we'll throw it in there just to make my life a little easier. I probably picked up all food, but I don't want to accidentally throw this wristwatch in. And obviously the tea bag and the yeast doesn't need to go in, or the nails, so we'll just kind of toss all the rest of this stuff on the floor. Alright, now we're at a point where I want to make sure that the tools and the toolbox stay in the car. And here's all the eggs and the milk. I want to make sure all that goes in and gets in the refrigerator, because that's what we went for before I changed my mind. Heading out to the military encampment is going to be a little bit hairy, and I'll tell you why. There's an accident on the road between West Point and Louisville, maybe more than one, that blocks the bridge. And so we're going to have to navigate around that, which presents its own challenges. And then when you get out to the military base itself, what you have is a lot of zombies that you have to clear before you can get into the military base and try to loot the encampment. So this may wind up being rather longer than I expected. I might have to split it up on the road or something just to keep it in shorter episodes. But we'll get through it, and hopefully you'll enjoy it along the way. And you'll get to see quite a bit of fighting and some of the things that are available in the different mods, because I'm tired of, I don't know about you guys watching me, but I am definitely tired of running back and forth to get let's get this out of here. I'm tired of running back and forth with small loads. I'm tired of having a small car. The only way to get a bigger car is to go searching for a bigger car. We already know where there's one truck, but it's going to take us a while to get to the point where we can actually hotwire it. So that's going to present a problem all of its own. And it just makes sense, especially since we're on looting missions because it's raining and we can't build, for us to go out and get the things that we need in the order in which we need them. And obviously handling looted items wasn't a tremendous issue in the beginning, but now it is. Where the heck was the... There it is. I knew we had a generator. Let's take that. Remember, when you take a generator, it unequips your weapon, and if you re-equip your weapon, then you'll drop the generator. So you don't want to do that. See, I can demonstrate. If I hit 1 to equip my weapon, see how she's now dropped the generator, which is fine. I was going to do that anyways, but alright, are we cleared out? We're cleared out. She's thirsty. I'm going to have her get a drink before we head back out again. And we're going to head over to the highway. Is everything out of here that I don't want in here? Actually, before we do that, let's double check to make sure we have all the tools we need. So we have a saw, so we don't need another one. We can bring that in. We do have a propane torch. We can bring that in. We have a hammer, so we can bring this in. And we'll just put this back in the trunk. So we have everything we could potentially need. We're not going to need tools out at the military encampment, but it doesn't hurt to have them. Alright, let's just transfer all this junk on the floor. Okay, so I think what I'll do is I'll end it here, keep this one small, and I will see you in the next episode where we will take the highway up to Louisville, or towards Louisville, to hit the military encampment looking for better gear, because this is just getting crazy. See you guys soon. Take care.